All right, we should probably get into this show. Hey, yo, welcome to Fuzzy Loaf podcast, where we talk about what's going on in news and pop culture. I'm Scott. That's Matt. And I don't know. Fuck. Let's just do it.
All right.
Is there really any news, like, even really worth talking about?
I think, like, the Hulu stuff is at least worth mentioning because it's gonna change the landscape of digital streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so Turner Broadcast bought a 10% stake in Hulu. So similar to Disney has a stake in Fox, and I'm trying to remember who else.
What?
Disney, Fox, and that's how the company was started. It was like an amalgamation of a bunch of the big conglomerate networks.
Yeah, it was like ABC.
I'm pretty sure it was Fox.
NBC, Fox maybe. I know CBS wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, and CBS is still not a part of it.
Because they're fucking...
CBS. But anyways, so they bought a 10% stake. Their shows are going to start showing up on there, so that includes Comedy Central.
Well, they already are on there.
But like in more capacity. And then the other big thing is that Hulu's going forward with a live streaming option starting in January of 2017. And I guess there's a bunch of other like over the top or whatever cable top services that are doing the same thing starting January of 2017. That has something to do with like the FCC ruling
on Hulu?
No, just like
just people
just like other streaming services are doing the same, like similar deals with different networks. I think it has something to do with the internet being rebranded as or whatever
public utility.
Yeah,
as a utility.
It has something to do with that, where they can allow that to happen or something. So there's going to be live streaming options on Hulu. We'll see how that works. Hopefully they don't make it. I don't know.
Hopefully it doesn't cost.
Yeah, I was going to say
because Hulu's kind of like running out of reasons for me to even bother like keeping my subscription at this point.
Every month I'm like I should just cancel it because I haven't used it. I
haven't either
since like March. I'm trying to think of when seasons ended of most of the shows. I mean, it was a couple months ago.
I mean, I don't use it in the summertime. Maybe I'll use it more in the fall when like certain shows come back. But I mean, with all those CW shows not on Hulu anymore, that's going to be a huge ding because that's mostly what I watched.
Yeah,
I watched some stuff. Like I watched Scream Queens every week on there, and I'm sure there was a few other things I watched, but it's like really slim now.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, but PlayStation has a service called PlayStation Vue that's like really similar to this, and it has all of the major networks or most of the major channels. It has on demand and live streaming. I think it's like $35 is their low package, which comes with like 75 channels, and then for like $50 you get 100 channels plus like premium options and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that landscape changes as people start cutting their cable subscriptions even more.
Yeah. Cable's just so expensive.
Yeah.
And the commercials are so bad.
Yeah. That's one thing that I hope they would change with Hulu is that it's not just literally a rebroadcast of where it's like 10-minute commercial blocks or like whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, it'd be interesting over the internet because commercials on your TV are localized. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see like
what offers them more what they call programmatic.
Where like we could tune into this demographic better.
Yeah, you're a male who buys this kind of shaving cream, so we're gonna put this advertisement on for you.
Exactly. It'd be interesting how they sell their advertisements to like people, but that's not my business. I'm not in that.
No, but it is very interesting to think about that, how it's going to change all of those things. Because right now, the way TV and ad buying works is it's like, well, we estimate that this number of people watched based on doing phone surveys. Like, are you fucking kidding me? We have the technology now where you can literally know.
And like Nielsen ratings.
Yeah,
stuff.
Nielsen ratings are bullshit.
They're garbage because it's like only like 100 people in the whole country have it, and they're like. That's why like Netflix is able to tune into their programming so well is because they can get all sorts of data they need.
Well, and like this is kind of a tangent, but Netflix put out a study, I think it was like a month or two ago, that was going around on like a bunch of marketing blogs, where they did like a case study of the thumbnails that they do for movies and how they were testing out like different things and how they've pretty much figured out how to get like, you know, if you're fit within this demographic, you're going to click on that thumbnail and you're gonna at least start that movie. Like, they've figured it out to like an exact science. And
That's incredible.
And it's because they have like actual numbers that they can look at. Like, they scrolled past it, they hovered on it for this many seconds, they clicked on it. Like, they have everything.
Insane. So much, dude. The way like TV and just entertainment in general is gonna drastically change so much in just the next like 5 years.
Yeah.
Probably less than that even.
Yeah, and don't forget that YouTube also has something supposedly coming 2017 that's going to be like a TV network.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or like not a TV network, but like a cable over-the-box cable subscription thing.
I mean, because I have YouTube Red, but I don't watch any of their original shows because they all look so stupid.
Some of them are pretty good.
I just don't care about any of it.
They're all right.
I just like the features that come with YouTube Red.
Not having to watch any ads. It's so funny whenever I'm with anybody else that
And
doesn't
they
have
have
YouTube
ads
Red.
pop up?
I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, wait.
You don't. Yeah. No, basically, because I don't even really download shows to watch on off Wi-Fi on YouTube very often because I'm usually always on Wi-Fi. But to being able to close like the app,
Yeah, that is
like lock my phone,
extremely nice.
and then the no ads thing is just great. Especially if I'm trying to like, I will live stream at work on my phone, and sometimes that does not work very well.
Yeah.
So you have to like exit out of it and go back. Well, back when I had ads and I had to do that, I'd exit out and go back and there'd be like an ad at the beginning. I'm like, God damn it, I'm missing this show now. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to. So now I don't have to worry about those ads anymore.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, that was really like the only thing of note that we want to talk about. There's a few other things, but nothing really.
There's a lot of Pokemon news this week, but I think we're gonna try to save it for when we can get Ben on the show, so we can really dig deep into it.
Well, who knows? A couple weeks from now, there might be even more news that we can talk about.
So we'll wait.
even
We're
more.
gonna hold off on the Pokemon until next week, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk Suicide Squad, I guess.
Yeah. So there will be spoiler and non-spoiler. So I suppose let's talk non-spoiler first.
Okay.
What were your thoughts about the movie? That non-spoilery.
The critics' points are all valid. I would say all their complaints are completely valid. Yet I still actually liked the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's reason I liked it is because of the characters worked for me. Some more than others. Some like what's the point of you even being in here? Kind of sucked.
Yeah, we'll get into that for the spoiler part.
But the editing is a goddamn mess. The villain is so weak, and the music was because I heard people talking about like the music and like the soundtrack of like the songs they used, and some were complaining it, some were praising it, and I was like, at first I was like, oh, this kind of works, and then as I kept going on through the movie, I was like, okay, they're relying on these songs way too much.
Yeah, I want to know how much they spent just on music, because none of those songs are cheap.
No.
Like, they're all, for the most part, there was like 2 or 3 that were like smaller artists, and when I say smaller, I still mean it probably cost them
a lot,
couple $100,000 just to license the song.
They really started to rely on, for me, they relied on the music as like too much of a crutch, where it was kind of jarring. It didn't flow as well as it did in like say a Guardians of the Galaxy, where their soundtrack, or Deadpool, where the songs like really flowed. Here it was kind of like, oh, here's another song, oh, here's another, like,
yeah,
it was too much. But like I said, I still, for all the problems that it had, I still liked the movie because I think I had fun with the characters. I just wish it could have been better. But I don't know. I've not even talked to you about Suicide Squad at all yet.
Yeah,
so I want to see what you have to say.
Ashley was like, well, have you and Scott talked about it at all? And I was like, no, I'm kind of just waiting till Sunday when we record the podcast. Yeah, for me, very similar. It was like I had fun and I enjoyed the movie, but it was a bad movie. I mean, it was bad.
I gave it a fresh rating But I mean, when someone says that, like, all their complaints, I will not argue with any of them.
But to me, it's one of those, like, is it worse than, like, the worst Marvel movies that have come out? Probably not.
No,
you know, it's a lot
I would say
of fun.
better than Thor: The Dark World.
It's a lot of fun, and the actors, for the most part, are fantastic and play the characters, like, really well. The dialogue and the writing was atrocious.
It was written in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If this movie would have had more time to be developed, I'm sure.
It would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Or could have been fantastic. And there was, like you said, the editing was terrible. The pacing was
things just like
god-awful.
happened so fast. We're like, whoa, we gotta slow. I never thought that a 2-hour movie just did not have enough in it.
Yeah.
But that's just a whole different story. Let's say BVS, but
yeah.
I'm not talking about that movie anymore. Things just happened too quickly. We're like, whoa, we gotta like slow down a little bit.
I think this movie would have benefited from being maybe 2 or 3 movies and building up to something like this versus like it was just like shotgun blast where like the first, and it was like the pacing was so uneven where it's like super fast, slows down, nothing happens, and super fast again, and it's just like it was troubled.
And I was telling my friend that this movie really suffers from too big of a not villain, am I trying to say? Too big of consequences.
That was
where it's like end of the world. I'm like, okay, I said this is a black ops group. Basically, they should have a small mission. Say they have to like. I gave through the example. The president's daughter has been captured by a smaller supervillain.
Yeah,
you're sending in the Suicide Squad to take him out. So we have to send them into this like foreign country or whatever, and they're going in there. And it's Rick Flag doesn't have his army of soldiers. It's just Rick Flag leading the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It should have been. They made it way too big.
We should maybe move into spoilers because there's a lot of stuff that we can't talk about without getting specific.
Yeah. So that's.
So would you recommend seeing it still, even though it's
I would
not
say
a great...
see it. See it. And you might still have fun with it. I also want to see it because I want a sequel to happen because I want to see more of these characters, but with a better story.
Yeah, with more time to be developed.
Yeah,
and I would agree. I would say, despite what people are saying, this is by far the best DC movie that's come out since the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
So
people say I've heard people say no, they liked Man of Steel. I still hated Man of Steel.
Man of Steel. I mean. It just
the thing was the thing that gets me about a lot of these DC movies and why like Justice League and Man of Steel and whatever why don't care about them really is because they are not the characters that I know.
Yeah,
they're not the characters I recognize. Superman is not Superman to me. He's Batman with superpowers. They're not the characters I know, so I don't feel for it. Whereas the Suicide Squad characters, those were the characters that I knew. Basically, and so I was able to be on board with it.
Yeah,
that's the main reason why I didn't like Man of Steel is because it was too far of a departure from the character that I'm familiar with. But yeah,
all right. Let's get into some spoilers.
Yeah, let's get into some spoilers.
Okay, so
wait, do we want? No. I was gonna say, should we give it like a score before we get into spoilers?
Nah.
We'll save that for after. I think.
I don't even know if I can give this a score.
That's what I said.
This falls in like that weird spot of where this is a really bad movie. I still recommend seeing it.
I posted a review on Facebook about it, and someone asked me for a score, and I was like, I think any numerical score that I would give wouldn't really do it justice. But I gave it a 70%. I think I'd probably drop that now to like a 63.
Yeah. But I am one of those people, and I've said this before when we've talked about other movies. I'm one of those people where unless it was like a terrible movie, it basically goes like this: don't bother seeing it, see it, or it was fantastic.
Right.
And like this falls into that see it category,
right.
Where it's like there was tons of problems, but there was also quite a bit that they got right. And it was enjoyable. It just wasn't.
Yeah. So let's get into spoilers. Matt, you want to go first? What do you want to?
Sure. So you talked about unnecessary characters. I want to get that out of the way because there were two characters in particular that I thought should have just been cut from the movie completely. And that was Slipknot, which we knew he was going to be the character that died right away.
He was fine for me.
It was so dumb. He was so pointless.
That's the point.
Yeah, but it was
so pointless. He is.
I know, but it was so
Every
fucking
Suicide
stupid.
Squad. If you watched like Batman Assault on Arkham, even in the comics, everything too, there's always they have that one character who's like they fool into testing out to see if that bomb thing is true, and I mean I knew from the very beginning.
No, we knew because
Slipknot's gonna die.
Well, okay, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the villain. But like the whole plot of the movie, after watching the trailers a few times, is kind of easy to discern what was going to happen in the order of operations. But I thought the reason why I thought Slipknot was stupid and irrelevant was because we had no reason to give a shit or whatever. Like I understand why they didn't spend time about him but it's like, why him? They could have just done like, this is James the thug, and you know what I mean? Like, why kill off a character that could have been used, or why even throw a character?
Nobody even knows who Slipknot is.
But it was like he was in the movie for 2 minutes, literally the scene before, and then killed him.
Maybe should have introduced him a little better.
And that's like my problem with him. The other character that should have just not been in the movie at all because it didn't make any fucking sense was Katana.
Yeah, she should have been.
No sense.
They should have saved. I liked Katana as a character. They should have saved her for the sequel.
Yeah.
Because she's a big part of the Suicide Squad. She's she's a hero.
Yeah.
She's part of the Suicide Squad, but yeah, she just came
this
in.
Version of the movie, it didn't make any sense.
No.
It was like, oh, we're already on the helicopter. Oh, by the way, there's this Asian lady with sword and she talks. You
could have had the Suicide Squad be Deadshot, Harley, Killer Croc, Boomerang.
Diablo was there.
And Diablo. You could just have it be those guys. Led by Rick Flag.
Yeah. And then I agree with you very much on the point of this was too high of stakes for this being like their first outing, because it was like none of them have superpowers besides Diablo.
Killer Croc, kind of.
Well, yeah, but not really. And it's like this is end of the world with like a villain that is like, it's one of those things with like Thanos or something. Like that's too big of a villain for like.
It was like Apocalypse.
Yeah,
she basically was Apocalypse.
Too high of stakes. Yeah, exactly. Too high of stakes for people that don't really have the means to actually do anything about it.
Right.
Why didn't Batman or Wonder Woman or The Flash or Aquaman or any of these? Yeah, that would have made more sense.
You had an entire city that had been evacuated and was under attack.
And Batman was in the movie multiple times catching the fucking villains in the first place.
The Flash was in the movie.
Yeah, and it's like, so it didn't really make sense. The other thing was the villain. It was very easy to tell from the marketing materials that Enchantress was going to end up being the villain.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't there in the bar scene where they're all drinking. The like monsters, after you think about it and you see like the bath with like the black tar stuff, it was like, oh, okay. I thought the making Rick Flag and her love interest was very dumb. I also thought that Cara Delevingne was not great.
No,
I thought her performance was easily the weakest.
She was
one on the
either
screen.
just like crazy possessed or just crying.
And it may not have been her fault. It may have just been bad.
Yeah.
Directing, bad dialogue.
I really
and stuff.
think I want to rewind a little bit talking about the Rick Flag and Enchantress relationship. It's stupid and shoehorned. I don't. It's for me. It seems kind of dumb. You could, instead of making it like because we know Waller's manipulative and she controls people, but instead of having her to do that for Rick Flag he's like super military, ultra patriot boy, right? Why not just have him? He's just doing this because it's his job.
Yeah.
Not because my girlfriend is, she's the evil witch or whatever. No, just be like, this is your job, soldier. You are in charge of this squad.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do. You didn't have to have that relationship.
Yeah. And it could have just been like, we need her alive. That's why you can't kill. Because like, what is the motivation for him not killing her? Because I've heard people say, like, try to defend it, and it's like you could just say that she's an asset that they need contained.
Right. And he's just following orders because he's a good soldier. That's all you needed to do.
And that would have made more sense during the scene where Waller kills the analysts that were in that room,
and he just goes along with it.
Yeah, that makes no sense for the character archetype that they're setting up, where he's like a romantic, like whatever. Even if he is a soldier, you would think he would contest that idea. Like, they have families. Like, if you know what I mean, if you're thinking emotionally and with your heart rather than like patriotically with your, you know what I mean, like whatever,
Your
with
sense
your
of your
fucking flag,
job. Like,
yeah,
this is what I have to do. This is my...
then that kind of mindset doesn't really work together.
Right.
I don't know. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about that were negative? I know we're being kind of negative, but I want to
we got to get this negative stuff out of the way.
Yep.
Not enough Joker. I actually liked the Joker.
And this is one where I disagree with you. I thought and everybody was like, oh my God, the Joker's hardly in this movie. I thought that was the right amount that they were going to do.
I mean, I think could have benefited from a little more Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Have him be, I don't know, just a little bit more. Have him be more of a wrench in their plans.
Well, and this is where in a different universe where it was a different story with a different villain, it would have made, like...
It probably would have worked better.
Yeah.
Like, he's really fucking this plan up.
Yeah. And Jared Leto had come out and was pretty pissed, saying that they cut, like, almost all of his scenes that he was in, that they filmed.
I mean, he had second billing after Will Smith, and, like, he's not barely in it.
Because he's a name. And because he's playing the Joker, which was a big character for them.
One thing that I don't like, which is just a small... Not really, it's a more personal feeling of mine, whereas they portray the Joker as being quite sexual in the movie. I don't like that.
See, and that's another thing where it makes sense in their universe that they would go that way.
I know I don't like it ever.
Yeah.
Even like in the Killing Joke movie they talked about, what Joker did and everything about that, I don't. To me, the Joker is completely asexual.
But
and in my mind, I'm just saying this is how I feel. This is for me. Like, I don't like the Joker being portrayed as anything but asexual, and his relationship with Harley is a romantic relationship, not a sexual relationship.
But let me propose it to you this way: we don't actually see them doing anything remotely sexual.
We hear him
on screen.
talk about it. I mean, we do see her be like, but that's Harley.
But
the Joker to me is,
in my mind, this is what it is. He is a psychotic person, and he gets maybe sexually turned on by things that are out of the norm. Maybe to him, their sexual relationship is not necessarily like them having sex, but it's like they're like fucking killing a guy, or like they're torturing a guy, and like that's what gets him off. Like the torture scene where he's like zapping her and stuff. That to me,
I wish that
sexual.
That's another negative. That torture scene shouldn't have been in there. They should have had it where she's completely for him on her own,
which she was.
She was at first. So it's like that. Why did you have that extra scene where you're torturing her?
Because she at that scene she was like, I can take it. Do it. I can take it. And he's, you know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. It's kind of like a weird...
It was still pointless. I didn't like it.
Well, it didn't make sense with the narrative where they're setting up where she's willingly in the relationship and stuff. But my point being that, like, while he is sexual, I don't think it's, like, actually sexual. I think it's, like, he gets off on making people uncomfortable, on, like, fucking with people and, like... causing them pain emotionally, physically.
I noticed it in the movie, and I've noticed it in other media, and I just really don't like when the Joker is portrayed that way. Because to me, he doesn't think that way. He's a force of nature. He doesn't have those human... But
psychotic people, like, it's not the actual sexual act.
Right, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I don't like that he's
in this universe where everything's as dark as humanly possible and as fucked up as humanly possible. It makes sense that they went that direction, whether or not.
I'm not a fan of the Joker as a character, really, anyway. So it's fine. Everyone's like the Joker. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. You just let me explain to you how you don't understand how Lex Luthor is the best villain ever.
Oh, Lex Luthor is easily the best villain
of comics.
Yeah,
just the best.
Yeah,
you can't like. I would love to just like I've never really got enough to be like, someone come up to me and be like, "What's your favorite villain?" "Oh, I like the Joker because he's something on topic." I'm gonna be like, okay, let me explain to you why Lex Luthor is the best. Or someone who thinks Lex Luthor is just stupid. No.
At least the more modern version of Lex Luthor, because the original version of Lex Luthor was
less mad scientist.
Yeah, it was like, but.
Lex Luthor and Dr. Doom are the two best villains in their respective universes.
Yeah, and it's because they're the
same.
Well, and they're both the hero in their own story.
Exactly.
And that's what makes a good villain.
Yeah. That was a tangent.
Oh well. Anything else? There was another thing that I have written down. That
What is that?
the CGI in this movie is some of the worst CGI I've seen in any blockbuster in the last 5 years. It's horrendous.
It's pretty not good.
It is really bad. It's even worse than Batman v Superman, and that was pretty atrocious as well. The CG in that movie was so unbelievable and so poorly shot. Movie. And maybe it's because I'm spoiled because of like
Doomsday
Marvel and
looked
stuff.
Like real bad.
Well, and it's like even the action scenes where
some CGI in Marvel looks bad, but
for the most part it's passable.
Yeah,
at least it doesn't pull me out. Whereas like Batman v Superman, especially the stuff where like Batman's grappling around, like that didn't even look like a human moving. Like that looked like an early 2000s rendering of what a human looks like moving.
Yeah,
and it's like we are so beyond that point. How are you doing this poorly?
Yeah. Especially for a movie that was in production for like 3 years.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else that's negative, and I know that sounds pretty ironic considering we just talked about. I had
some other things too.
I mean, like the story and the elements of the story were really bad and really corny, and
yeah. Let's get into positives.
Yeah,
because we need to get into positives.
We do.
You go first. I'll bounce off you.
Okay, so the actors, for the most part, just besides Cara Delevingne as Enchantress.
Yeah. Rick
Flag was kind of hot and cold sometimes.
I didn't mind him. My friend said he hated him.
He was fine for what he was, but he wasn't that great. Killer Croc was not great, but otherwise, like
Killer Croc could have been better if he had more to do.
Well, and
that's my same with Katana. She could have been awesome if she had more to do.
It falls into the same thing where like they messed with his voice too much, whereas like I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, it's like,
oh, beautiful.
It was like with Bane, and
they tried to make they tried to make him sound almost like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, but anyways, so that leaves like Will Smith as Deadshot was fantastic. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
She was good.
I think she was really good. Once again, for the material provided and for what they gave her to do.
I wish she would have had better things to do. She could have done better.
She played the role well for what she was given.
Yep.
Jared Leto as Joker, I liked it, although it was really funny. In the middle of the movie, Ashley turns to me and goes, "Why is he acting like Jim Carrey in The Mask?" And then the whole rest of the movie is like, oh my God, he literally is just a very dark version of Jim Carrey as The Mask.
He's a very interesting Joker they went with this one. I still don't like the tattoos. The rest of the costumes I was actually on board with. Mm-hmm. When he was like, when they had their date night and he's at that kind of like silver.
It seems like they're just into tattoos though, because multiple characters
had a bunch of
tattoos for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. It seemed kind of dumb. I did not like it. I was like, if they could have just done the Joker the same way, minus the tattoos and probably like the metal teeth, I would have been like, yeah, this is a pretty cool looking Joker. I could have got behind it.
Yeah, and
even when he was like shirtless with like that like purple, almost like crocodile skin jacket, I was like, I'm digging this look. Mm-hmm. It's
because
cool.
He's more of like a kind of like a gangster.
Yeah, more crime boss.
Yeah, Joker. And that makes sense. Yeah. And his portrayal of the character, where it's like really psychotic and like flips like nobody's business, where it's like you're talking to him, you think you're shooting the shit, and then all of a sudden he's like fucking plugging you in the head.
Yeah,
it's like
that's how real like crazy people are.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, shit, well, that's their version that they're doing for this.
Speaking of that scene though, another negative, why was that Common?
Yeah,
why would you get Common to play a half-second role?
Yeah,
you got Common for that?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I thought that he was going to be the setup for like the next Suicide Squad movie. Like the movie ends and like that's the end credit scene. It's fun. Not that it was going to be like, yeah, he's there for 2 seconds. It
was just, anyway, sorry, back to the positives.
Yes.
God damn it, phone.
I did say that this movie is better than any DC movie that has come out since the Dark Knight trilogy.
Another positive for me, Captain Boomerang was my favorite.
Oh yeah, he was fucking funny.
I like at the end he's like, oi! Like he's just like, 10 years for triple life sentence. I'm out of here. He's just he's like, nope. His pink unicorn thing. I mean, he was almost like the Deadpool of the Suicide Squad a little bit.
Yeah. He was the comedic relief.
Yeah.
In a group that was all pretty funny for the most part.
Yeah, I liked that they made him be captured by the Flash because he's one of the Flash's rogues.
Yeah, that was a cool nod.
It's a good nod. The Easter egg with Joker and Harley dancing, and Harley's in her like traditional costume.
Yeah.
You got that part?
Yep.
That's the homage to the Alex Ross cover of the Harley Quinn's introduction to the comics.
When she was rifling through the chest.
That costume was in there.
She pulled it up, and I was like,
yeah.
But then I was like, wait, no, we've seen pictures of the rest of the movie with her not.
But that was cool that she was in that flash of
Yeah.
Harley and Joker. She was in that. That was really cool. Deadshot. I mean, this is like the best Will Smith's been in a long time.
Yeah, the action sequences, for the most part, besides like the last fight.
Yeah.
Like when Deadshot did his thing, like that was fucking sweet. When Harley did her thing, that was awesome. But it's like we didn't get enough of those actual moments. It was like we got like a minute of Deadshot, and then we got like a minute of Harley Quinn, and then like the rest of the action was just kind of like bleh.
Yeah. Really, my only positives are the characters.
Yeah, the characters are the best part of the movie.
Amanda Waller. That was Amanda Waller. And Viola Davis did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Perfect casting. Yeah, it's the characters that I want to see more of. I want a better story, though, and maybe not make the stakes so high.
Yeah, the stakes were they were ridiculous.
Keep them black ops.
It would be. I thought it would have been a much better movie if this first movie was literally about them like capturing them and giving them like the ultimatum, and then like it ends with like their first mission, which is like some stupid shit that they're like way overqualified for, like just as like a test, like this is us testing you out, and it's like you need to stop a bank robbery, and then it's like they're tempted to break course or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that'd be too small.
But it's something like that is what I mean. Is like this was like there's no they've never fought together. Big. They don't. Like,
I think it should have been like, you know, we're gotta go on this Black Ops mission. You're something's happening in this like small area. We need to go in. People aren't. It's in a foreign, one of those made up DC countries. You know, this guy's causing some trouble. You got to go in, rescue this person. You cut out Enchantress. She's not even in the movie anymore. Katana. Either write her role better, or make her part of the sequel, because she could still work, and you do need another female character on the team. Besides Harley.
I think. If they had in this like hypothetical universe that they chose to do a different movie first to set it up where it's like a smaller team, smaller stakes, whatever, I think Enchantress could have worked, maybe not played by Cara Delevingne, if she wasn't the bad guy, and we set up so like 2-3 movies down the line she was the bad guy. That would have made much more sense and would have made us care, because it's like. But
Enchantress also, she's like too powerful to be a part of this team.
Yeah, she's super powerful, and that's why it's fucking just stupid, because
she was too OP for this team. That's why I say this is, if I were to like be able to go back and like redo this movie myself. I'm not a writer or anything, but I'd have it be there's a small mission they have to go on in like this foreign country or whatever. They're the team that's going in because they're expendable. They don't. It's like the Expendables.
Yeah.
They're like almost like a mercenary group, but they're part of the government. It's Deadshot, Harley, Boomerang, Killer Croc, maybe Diablo. I don't even know if I'd have him in there, to be honest.
Because he was one of those.
He was supposed to be the heart, but I didn't care.
Yeah. And he was one of those where the way they had set up his character in this movie, he was too much of a good guy to be a part of the bad guys, even though he was still a terrible fucking person his entire life. He was, you know what I mean? It was like he had already like gotten redemption, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's like it didn't really make sense.
Yeah, if I were doing this, they'd be going on a small mission. It'd be Deadshot, Harley, Boomerang, Killer Croc. And then I'd say put Katana in there, because with Rick Flag leading those four, and then you have Katana as like.
But she should have been introduced much better than she was.
She should have been introduced better. Yeah, she's there to help Flag, keep these guys in line, and it's just those guys on the mission. I mean, maybe you could have Diablo or have Slipknot in there to die again, or whatever. Have something, and then they go on their mission. They do their small mission. Most of their struggles are more internal and less like fighting wise, Yeah. Most of their problems are having to deal with each other and not having to deal with the enemy. and then they come out, they succeed or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Same ending, whatever. And then the sequel, Poison Ivy joins the Suicide Squad.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Because you have Harley and Ivy together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they kind of blew their nut in this movie by showing how evil Viola Davis, or how Amanda Waller, how evil she really was. Like, not necessarily evil, but like, she's willing to do whatever is necessary to get whatever she thinks needs to be done.
Right.
And I think they could have, if that was like the conclusion to like the second or third movie, once again, where we've been with this team, they've built up, we've seen what they can do. Now maybe they're facing like a big bad, and then like that's when you blow your nut, and it's like Amanda Waller is actually this vindictive piece of shit.
I was fine with that in the first movie. In this movie, where she just goes and just kills those people right during that room, because that's something Amanda Waller would definitely do.
But what I'm saying is it kind of ruins now. Anytime she's in the, like, it kind of ruins her as the character for, like...
Does it? I kind of think it's kind of like, we know now how fucked up Amanda Waller is, in that, like, in later on movies, we're like, no, you do not fuck with Amanda Waller. Or maybe you have someone new who's part of the squad thinking they're hot shit, and everyone else is like, no, trust me, you really don't want to fuck with Amanda Waller.
But to me, it didn't really make me think she was badass. Like, it just... You know what I mean? Because, like, Deadshot was doing the same thing. And Deadshot was, like, not fazed by it, even though he's like, really? This is the fucking person you're following, to Rick Flag? You know, it's like, it didn't do any... I understand why they did it, because they wanted to show you how, like...
Not badass, but harsh.
Yeah. But I feel like that could have been something, especially for people that aren't as familiar with Amanda Waller, that could have been something that could have built to much more impact. Like, they just blew everything this first movie, you know, is just like fucking...
That's a problem with this new DC universe, is they're trying to do too much right out the gate. They've got to just...
It's got to build.
They take their time. That's what... You know, there's no reason... They don't need to catch up to anyone. Marvel's at like the end of their line. Not like speaking, you know, like being as like the original cast and everything. They're reaching the end there. They've been around for almost 10 years. They'll be, by this time it's all wrapped up, it'll be over 10 years. So it's like, take your time. They're just finishing. You can just be getting started. You know, now people are going to start jumping onto your train, but they're just blowing their load all at once.
And I think, like, I would have almost loved to have seen a Joker and Harley movie, like, maybe not called Joker and Harley, but, like, to get to know them more, or, you know, like, because it's like, we didn't get enough of any one character. Like, there was too many characters, and we didn't get enough of any of them, I felt like.
Yeah. I would agree.
At least to give a shit about them.
Right.
Really.
Yep.
But it's still a fun movie, and I still recommend you see it.
Like, it's one of those weird movies where, like, it's got so many problems, but you still want other people to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that was like Neon Demon for me, where I saw it and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Hey, yeah, you should definitely see Neon Demon, because I hated it, but I want you to see it anyway so that we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate Suicide Squad. It wasn't like that.
No, it's just... Yeah, I don't know. The story its problems. The story was the main issue, and it was very clearly he didn't get enough time.
No,
because there was a lot of good ideas in there, as well as or a lot of good ideas that were done poorly, and there was a lot of really bad ideas that if maybe he had been given 6 months, a year to like work and do revisions and do rewrites and stuff, that those would have been weeded out. You know, I still think they would have gone with too big of a villain for them. Like, it really was, the stakes were just way too high. It didn't make any sense. Like, it was just, there was no way they were equipped to deal with that.
Right.
And there was no reason why the Justice League, the non-formed Justice League, the individual people that will then become the Justice League didn't come in and even show up. Like, that would have been a much cooler ending if... And I understand why they didn't do this, because they don't want to pay a bunch of people a bunch of money to show up, and they didn't want to like undermine what the Suicide Squad did. But that would have been a much more...
wait. I zoned out. Are you talking about the Justice League coming in?
Yeah.
The Justice League's not together yet.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, if the Flash showed
basically,
up...
the stakes were... You're just saying the stakes were too high. They shouldn't have been that high.
Yeah. The only way it would have made sense in my mind is if the Justice League had somehow shown up.
But the Justice League doesn't approve of Task Force X.
Yeah. But still, you wouldn't be like, oh, I don't approve of Task Force X, so Midway City, fuck them. They can just die.
Right. It's just, yeah. It would undermine the whole point of the movie existing. Right. The stakes, basically, the level of the stakes fuck up the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We're going on too much where it's just starting to become gobbledygook. Like I said before, for my score, I gave it like a 63%, which is like a C. That's a C. That's a C, right?
That's a D. 7 is a C.
Oh, that's a D, yeah. Right. I still feel like, because I was at 70%, which is a C, I feel like 63 is more fair.
Yeah.
I have to lower it to 63.
Yeah.
I know you didn't really want to give a score.
I can't, because it's one of those, like, it's a bad movie, but I still enjoyed it. But I think it's because of the characters. It is strictly because of those elements they got right. Were so good, and then the other stuff that they got wrong is stuff that's getting, like, the villains and that kind of stuff. Marvel's fucked up too.
Broke August box office records.
Yeah.
I have to look it up though. I don't remember what it.
It was like the third highest August opening movie of all time.
I've got this article I want to read open, so I can't.
I suppose other things we should talk about. Movie is not being released in China. At least that's what they're saying right now, and it needs to make $750 billion, so $750 billion, for them to consider this a wash.
135 million this weekend.
Yeah,
which is only 31 million less than BVS.
Yeah.
So, wow. Yep. Anyway, next week I said we'll probably try to talk Pokemon if we can get Ben on here, but it's weird because I'm going out of town next weekend, so it's going to be kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
I guess with that, we'll sign off here. You can find me everywhere online at Scotty Boy, BWO with 4 Ys. Matt?
You can find me everywhere online at Hagnerd, Hagnerd. You can follow us at Fuzzy Loaf on Twitter. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you can find us on YouTube by searching Fuzzy Loaf. Click subscribe, give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down, leave us a comment. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can find us on iTunes by searching Fuzzy Loaf. Subscribe, give us a rating. I've been told it's stars. We go over this every time. I think it's 5 stars. But feel free to give us any amount of stars you want and leave us a review and let us know your thoughts. We'd love to know what you thought about Suicide Squad in the comments, because I am very confused with this movie.
Yep. Also, no Music Minute this week.
Yeah.
Because I was planning to talk about Frank Ocean's Boys Don't Cry,
and
but that never happened.
Because it's an Apple Music exclusive, and for some reason it's not on Apple Music yet.
Well, it was rumored. It wasn't even, like, guaranteed to come out Friday.
Yeah.
This album was supposed to come out last July. It's never going to happen.
Did you see that Snapchat put out filters?
No.
For Frank Ocean's
Did
Boys
they?
Don't Cry. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Now, with the craziness behind this album, if it's not great, at least better than Channel Orange,
it's not going to be.
Which it's not going to be. Everyone's going to be
disappointed. There's a reason it's delayed, and it's not because it's a good album. I'm just going to tell you that now. That's
been this whole year. Oh, man, we were supposed to be signing off. This has been this whole year with like hip-hop and like R&B albums all year. Is there's like hype, or like the release schedule is all fucky, and then it ends up not being good. Like Life of Pablo was only okay, not that great. Views by Drake, kind of boring, if I'm being honest. I liked some songs on it, but not that great. Chance's Coloring Book is probably the best of those 3, and I like his last album more. So we'll see what Frank has in store.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of mainstream hip hop. I think it's just like it plays to the lowest common denominator is how I feel. Like musically and lyrically, it's just not as good.
I'm gonna disagree with you, but we don't have time to talk about that.
Maybe next time.
Anyway, we'll smell you later, nerds.